Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 92 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. I have a feeling we're about to meet a very angry queen, and she didn't like you on a good day. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
We're a day late, but that's okay.
Hey, it's worth it if we could all be here.
Exactly.
And we're recording a little earlier in the day than we usually do, so we're not like rushing to be like, oh, we got to get to bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully we're a little less punchy, but then again, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing we're less punchy with this topic we're going to be discussing.
Yeah.
We're going to be punchy anyway, but it's a different punchy.
Yeah.
Anywho.
The Elliot Spencer punchy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Well, first, let's get into what little news we have at the moment. So, first, some casting news. Marvel has announced several big names shall be joining the cast of Thor Ragnarok, including Cate Blanchett, which is exciting. Tessa Thompson, who I don't know, unfortunately, because I haven't seen Creed or Selma. Carl Urban.
Woohoo! I'm excited about that one.
And my personal favorite, not because I'm a huge fan, but just because I think this is amazing and I'm excited to see him in it and see what he does. Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, so Thor, you've got Chris Hemsworth. Has Tom Hiddleston been confirmed?
Yes.
I heard somewhere. Okay, so
Yes.
he will be in it.
Yes.
You got Cate Blanchett. She's an Oscar winner, and you have Carl Urban, who was in Lord of the Rings, and
Star Trek.
then you got Jeff Goldblum.
And then Jeff Goldblum.
And to Jeff Goldblum,
Ian
that
Malcolm.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Must go faster.
I
Must
saw
go faster.
that, and it's one of those that your head tilts for a second, and then you're like, yes, I'm all for it.
You're like, one of these things is not like the other,
But I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll
Yes.
take it.
You're pinching yourself to make sure that you're not dreaming.
You didn't slip and fall and hit your head.
Yeah. Apparently he's going to be playing a character called the Grand Master, which I think probably fits for Jeff Goldblum. So.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And unless you've been living under a rock, Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner / Hulk will also be in Thor Ragnarok, which, again, Rachel's steadfast theory that Thor Ragnarok will be happening parallel to Civil War, and that's why we didn't see Thor or Hulk.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's why General Ross, when he was talking about the Sokovia Accords, he's like, who do you know? Like, do you guys know where Thor is or where Banner is? And I'm like, well, Thor's on his own planet, where where the science is so advanced it might as well be magic, and Bruce Banner's on sabbatical.
Yeah.
Hulk's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So. And also, unless you've been living under a rock, they have confirmed that Jane Foster will not appear in Thor because apparently most of Thor will be taking place off planet. So all of Thor's Earthbound friends, Bruce Banner aside, will be making no appearance. Which, I was never a big fan of Jane in the first place. Although I will miss Darcy.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, I think I'm okay with that, especially if it means, hey, we get to see interplanetary galaxy type things, and maybe this will be how they bring in Guardians of the Galaxy eventually. I don't know.
Maybe. So, because it sounds like all these people that they've added are playing non-earthly folk, so that would not surprise me.
Yep.
I believe they've said like this will be like 90% off Earth. So expect magic and science.
All the
All
good
the stuff we expect from Asgard and Thor and Loki and fun stuff. So, but Jeff Goldblum. I don't know why it makes me so excited.
It's just because he's just the most random casting announcement out of all that group.
It is.
That's all it is.
Yep. So. Oh my. So. Moving on, a couple of pieces of news from the Star Trek universe. We got our first little teaser. You can't see me, I'm doing air quotes. Teaser for the
teaser is a generous statement.
Our first logo set to music for the new Star Trek TV series. So it looks pretty cool, and it's got the music. It's a tease. Yeah, it's a tease for a tease for a tease, is what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Expect more. Maybe it. Yeah. I would say maybe expect something a bit more concrete. Maybe at San Diego Comic-Con, maybe or something.
Possibly. We'll see.
We'll see.
San Diego Comic-Con makes sense for that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, that's what my dad called me right before we started recording, so we were a bit delayed. He was asking me, like, what do you know about the Star Trek TV show? And I'm like,
it's on CBS.
That's all I know.
CBS is making it. The first episode's going to air on TV, and then the rest is going to be online.
Yeah. I'm like, he's like, but who's in it? And is it Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, or is it one of the other ones, or is it a new one? I'm like, I don't know. They haven't told us anything.
They just said Star Trek, and we went, yes. And? Tell me more.
Limited information stream.
We're like Pavlov's dogs. They go science fiction, and we go, eh.
You're like,
Yep. Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah. And then
Schrödinger cat.
Yes.
Yep. And then you get the confusion with the new Star Trek Beyond movie trailer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, okay, so I was not terribly impressed with the first trailer. I mean, I was like, oh, it looks fine, but it doesn't look very Star Trek-y to me. And then I see this one, I'm like, okay, that one looks better.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's good. Like, you have your trailer that's sort of and then as you progress, you get more, or you get better trailers as you go. So hopefully this bodes well for the movie. But yeah, I was quite pleased with the new Star Trek Beyond trailer, and I really don't even have a real
dog in this fight
in the whole Star Trek thing, other than my husband loves it. He's getting me into it, and I'm like, cool.
I just want to know what those things are that are wreaking havoc on the good old ship Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To quote my dad, how many times can they destroy that ship?
Oh, kid.
Until the money runs out.
Yeah.
And the Federation goes, no more.
Yeah.
It's kind of like James Bond. You know, how many cars can James Bond destroy? As many as he wants.
Yeah. As long as Q keeps, is it Q or M?
Q. Good.
Q. Okay.
The
Yeah.
tech
As long as
person.
Q keeps making them.
Yep, exactly.
Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. At least it's not like Lethal Weapon where they pull Rig Zimmertug and say, we're self-insured now.
Like, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. But whatever. Okay.
Yep.
And then the this one actually is a teaser trailer.
Yes.
I would say. This one dropped this morning is the Beauty and the Beast live action movie. and okay, I have very high standards for this movie. I know, like, Disney's going through and doing all their live action versions of their animated classics, and this is basically just the live action version of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is my all-time super duper love it.
Me too.
Favorite Disney movie ever. So I am going to be very, very tough on this one.
Do not
Just-
mess this one up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while everybody is like flailing and going, "Oh my gosh, it looks great," and it does. The trailer looks beautiful. Like the setting just looks gorgeous. The whole, and all we really get is just you're walking through the castle, and you have some voiceovers. You have Lumiere and Cogsworth saying their lines, and then you see, at the end you see Emma Watson's eyes. I don't see her as Belle yet. I see her just as Emma Watson behind the rose, and I'm like, okay, it looks pretty. I still cannot say that I am super excited about this yet because that's all I know is that it looks pretty. And that's all I've got.
Again, we'll probably get more at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we will. I'm just, I'm tempering my excitement because there's so many ways they could screw it up. I could be disappointed. So I'm not gonna just go bouncing off the walls quite yet. Although yes, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. I
everyone
agree.
else, feel free to go nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, just hearing that music again, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chills
Alan
memories.
Menken! Oh, Alan Menken! Oh, the music! It's like, yes, please. Oh, yeah. There's the part of me that's going, oh my god, I'm a child again, Beauty and the Beast, like when I met Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle, at Comic-Con last year, and I regressed to being a child, so yeah, as soon as I heard the music, I'm like, I'm a child again.
Like, here it is, I'm 7 all over again.
Yeah. I love this movie. So, but yeah, other than the castle and the rose and the portrait of the prince with his family, and we get they're
very French.
Yeah, a little bit of Belle's face. We don't get much as far as characters other than voices, which, knowing who all the voices are, I'm like, it's Hugh McGregor and Ian McKellen. They sound wonderful. So I'm excited. I'm trying to, because you have those teasers. It's like I'm giving you a small piece of chocolate, but you don't get the whole bar yet. You get the corner. You have to wait. So. But then the child in me is like, yeah. No, anyway. Meanwhile, cosplayers everywhere going, I want to see her outfits. I need to start on.
That is true. It was like, and there will be cosplayers at like San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. For the trailers to drop so they get the first glimpse of costumes. Like, okay, what's that? Sateen? What lace? How much lace do I need? So, yellow Rit dye. Anyway.
Probably, yes.
Probably. All right, moving on to our last bit of news. As IO9 wrote this in the article, 6 doctors down, 6 doctors to go for Titans Doctor Who comics. So we've got...
Are they counting the War Doctor in that?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Well, they said with tales featuring Doctors 4, 8, 9, and 9 through 12. No, 9, 10. No.
Wait, okay, wait. Maybe they haven't done War Doctor yet. Okay.
So...
that was something else. Okay, maybe that was Big Finish I was thinking of. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So next up for I don't know if it's next up, but next announced from Titan is going to be the 3rd Doctor, written by Paul Cornell.
Ooh.
So that's...
Paul Cornell knows a thing or two about writing Doctor Who comics, so
well, he knows a thing or two about writing
Yay.
Doctor Who in general. So
well, that's true.
Yeah.
Books, TV. I think he's done some Big Finish, although I'd have to double check on that. He's definitely done comics, so he is no stranger to this.
Yeah.
And he's doing the 3rd Doctor, so that's exciting.
The story is called The Heralds of Destruction. with the Third Doctor and Joe Grant, and of course, Unit, including the Brigadier.
Yay!
Oh, this is exciting.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing with getting the Third Doctor in comics. It also means it's Third Doctor, probably Earthbound part Third Doctor, which means Joe, the Brigadier, and all of Unit, and Bessie,
Well,
and
and it also means that they're getting. I mean, they did the Fourth Doctor because he's most popular still.
Mhm.
And they've done all the new Doctors, and they've done the Eighth Doctor. So like they're branching out and doing other classic Doctors. So I'm like, eventually they may end up dipping their toe in all of them, which is it's fun to see. I mean, it's fun to see Titan do this to kind of look at look at all the things we could do with all the different Doctors. Let's try all these different things and see where it goes instead of just sticking with the current Doctor or even new series Doctors. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also with them going back and doing the older Doctors, is if people enjoy those comics, they might actually go and try to find and watch
the stories,
the other Doctors' TV episodes.
Yeah.
And expand from there too, which I think is another
to watch the. Yeah.
Yep. Which we'll take anything we can get.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Get people watching the classic stuff while he's off the air.
Yeah.
Especially. Well, now that it's not on Netflix anymore, but
yeah. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of Third Doctor on Netflix to begin with, so it was pretty much all
hear
four.
a rant about that. Go back to the episode.
Yep. So.
Yeah, true.
All right.
On Hulu, wherever you can find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yay, more Third Doctor.
Yay. All right. Well, that's it for news. So short, quiet news week, which is a good thing because we're gonna put on our tangent pants.
Well, yes.
Tighten those belts, folks, and we're gonna break out the soapboxes. As we get into. There's gonna be a lot of. There's gonna be a lot of. Oh, and we're all gonna sound like we have the flu or something.
It's like this is almost unfair to do because a lot. Okay, we're talking Once Upon a Time, second half of season 5, the Underworld arc, plus how they ended it. Because I'm like, I don't really feel like the finale fit with the rest of it. But anyway, because I'm sitting here going like. Okay, I enjoyed the Underworld for the most part. Like, there were a few things that I was a little iffy on, Rumple and Belle, both of you. But, for the most part, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. They explore some relationships that were impossible to do so before because they were all dead. Like, Cora and her daughters, which I've in the past, I've been very adamant and okay, I'm done with Cora. I don't need to see her story anymore. But I didn't realize how much I wanted to see her and Zelena meet and kind of go through that whole thing. I really liked that episode, but it was like, was it Sisters or something? I can't remember. Something like that. Anyway, but it's the one with when they're all sitting in reveals that Gina and Zelena met when they were girls, found out they were sisters, and she did a memory spell and made them forget about it. But they were so excited to be sisters and to love each other and blah, 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 blah. And it didn't work out that way. So it's like, okay, they're kind of getting this new, the unrepentant, wicked is great because her back. And what else were you gonna? You gotta do something with her other than
Yeah.
be with. So I released over, and yay, whatever good about it. But that darn finale.
No. Which is
I'm just like,
the episode before, not the finale was a two-parter, so I don't mean the first half of the two-parter, but the week before was such a good episode. Like, I was crying when Robin died in the funeral and all that. I mean, I was just like, stick the knife in me, twisted a few times, and that's it. But then that finale, it's just all like,
it just ignored all of that. Like, we didn't even get a lot of closure for all these things. And I know, like, and they've done this before, but it's not as egregious and not as obvious. Like, okay, at the end of the Frozen arc, there were the last two episodes of that first half, and they're like, okay, we got to get the Frozen people out of here. Here's a portal, just go. But they did it more gracefully than that. In this one, it's like, well, Robin's dead. Okay, Merry Men, we're done with you, so we'll just shove you out. Here's the portal. You guys get out of here. And Roland, you don't need to say goodbye to Regina. Just get out of here. We don't need you anymore. And I was just like,
poor Roland.
What are you doing? Like, what is this? I can't believe that, like,
I feel like I'm repeating myself, like when we were doing this time last year when we were talking about the Queens of Darkness storyline, and it's like the first half of the season, the Frozen storyline was so good. And it looked like, Queens of Darkness are going to bring in all these sassy, female villains. This'll be great. And it was such a disappointment. And it's happened again. It's like they can't get a full, strong season. And I'm sorry, Greg, you're probably a wonderful actor, but Hades was such a disappointment. Such a disappointment.
After a few episodes,
I agree.
Stopped doing the hair.
Oh my god!
I noticed that. Well, and it wasn't even the hair. Like, so many times, the way he delivered his lines. I don't know if this was him or the director telling him to do this, or this is what they wanted. He would always whisper them. He was always so breathy.
Well, what's her face? The Snow Queen did that in the Frozen storyline too. She whispered a lot too. I'm like, are you not allowed to project?
But it sounded okay with her. I didn't notice it as much with him. It was just like, are you trying to be evil, or what is this?
I don't know if it's like,
it doesn't work.
I don't know if it's like a method thing, like if he talks that way that you just wonder if maybe there's just, some evil, super strong wrath just bubbling underneath the surface and he's just barely keeping it under control, or what? I don't know.
Well, then you have the contrast of his and Selena's relationship, and they're supposed to be all lovey-dovey and cute. He's still doing the hissy whisper voice, and the time it really annoyed me was when he does his little, quote, proposal, and he goes, will you make chaos with me? I couldn't take that part seriously. It was just so stupid. The only time I really took him seriously, it was his last episode, right before he kills Robin Hood, and he yells out something like full-on big voice yells. I can't remember what he yells or who he's yelling at, and I'm just like, that's what you should have been doing this whole time. Like, your voice sounds normal, like you're gonna talk normal to somebody standing next to you, and not just whisper and be all, I'm whispering, so I must be seductive and so evil, and I'm like, just stop.
I want to write like an email to some, like, once upon a time Can we figure out time travel? Go back. Can we get James Woods for Hades, please?
I know. I don't know. Like, okay, what has this guy done before? I've never seen him in anything.
He was on Ally
Ally
McBeal.
McBeal.
Yeah.
He played one of the lawyers. He played, I can't remember who it was.
They got a lawyer?
Yeah.
He was a lawyer, but I don't think he was that wealthy back then.
Yeah.
It must be something with the directors on Once Upon a Time.
I don't know.
I mean, Regina, when she's evil queen, doesn't do that, and I mean, Cruella didn't do that. I'm trying to think of
No,
the other
Cruella's
girls.
fabulous, and she knows it, and she doesn't care.
Yes, and they used her so little. I was kind of sad about that.
But when she was on screen, though, Cruella, she just...
Oh
yeah, she was there.
She knows who she is, and she does not care, darling.
No.
I love
Charge
Cruella.
And going back to the Queens of Darkness storyline, she got one really strong episode that was all about her, and most of the time her character was just wasted. And I'm like, look at this wonderful character. Victoria Smurfett is just amazing as Cruella, and you're not using her. I'm just like, why? I mean, I know Cruella, her big thing is she went after puppies to make a fur coat, and while, yes, that is evil and dastardly, it's kind of hard to make a villainous plot out of that, but you could do something. I mean, you've got this great actress doing a wonderful job with the part that she's given.
Well,
do something with that.
And considering that half of her hair happens to be from the ink from the author's pen, I think there might be some repercussions of her interactions with Henry.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to do this
him
whole
being
thing
the author, you wouldn't, just like you would think, would she have control over him, or would he have more control over her because he is now the author?
That would be interesting. See,
and
there's something
with there. That was
and not just.
I would just like a little. I would like just a little something more. Like, we don't need to go back to the Underworld for anything. I hope not. But it would be kind of nice if we could get like a little one shot or something to see how Corella's doing now that King Arthur is in charge of the Underworld.
Okay, that's another thing I love.
Because she thought she was left in charge when Hades left.
I want a power struggle between Cruella and King Arthur. I want it.
Yes.
That'd be a match I'd like to see.
I know, me too.
And that was another episode another thing I just loved is when he showed up in the Underworld and Hook's there, and I'm like, okay, this is the guy that effectively killed Hook, pretty much, and now they're working together, and what was it the blind witch called it? She's like, there's the smell of a bromance brewing. Yes, that's amazing. See, there are good parts to this storyline.
Yeah.
Just some of it was very poorly executed. There are pieces of it that are good. It just doesn't come together in the end.
I mean, I'm glad that for the most part King Arthur's been tied up, considering we just kind of left him at the end of the first half of the season. We're going through this entire season, King Arthur's still around here somewhere, and then there he is, and Hades and
now he's dead.
And now he's dead. I'm like, well, I guess that's good, and we've got him out of the way because I didn't like him to begin with, but it's just random.
Yeah, here's part of my theory, and I kind of wrote about this on my blog a little bit, talking about this, is that it kind of feels like they feel like they have to shoehorn in all the Disney fairy tale characters, and I'm like, well, no, if it doesn't serve your story, don't do it. And it's kind of like going back with Merida. I mean, Merida, there was some point to her, but really in the Camelot storyline, she could have been anybody, really. I mean, there was that one-off episode of her with her, rescuing her brothers and the bear and everything, but it really didn't do anything for the rest of the story arc.
Right. Or if you
have
the opposite... Go ahead and finish, Chrissy.
Oh, but, well...
Yeah, go ahead.
It was... I can't remember what I was going to...
It was with Merida.
Her train is derailed.
Oh, I think Merida... Yeah, my train... but yeah, don't feel like you have to, go to the Disney shelf and be like, oh, we did this with Frozen, so now we must do it with, Brave or with Hercules or with anything else. Like use your character. That's what season 1 worked so well. It was all these different stories and all these different characters, and they were all part of the bigger story.
Mm-hmm.
And now it just kind of feels like the story, these outside story arcs are suddenly the show, and these other characters like Snow White and Prince Charming and Emma and Henry and Regina, they're all side characters, and the Underworld has to take center stage, or these Queens of Darkness, and we have to shoehorn in the thing. Like the way they did Frozen was perfect, because all it was, they had the Snow Queen and they worked her in through the thing, and and it was in a different realm, so like Arendelle coexisted with the Enchanted Forest, and they had contact with each other. But it just, somehow that one worked, and I'm trying to figure out why that one worked and not these others. And it was like, because these others were part of the Enchanted Forest, and now you're trying to just shove them in there when they weren't there before, and now we can't figure out why. I mean, they did the same thing with Oz.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm wondering, too, is if they found out, hey, Disney tells them, hey, you've got the option for these characters. It's just like they decided, okay, we got to jump now. Let's forget what we already had planned and try to shoehorn everything in, which I think is kind of maybe broken some of the things, and that might lead into some of my lost kind of threads later, too. But it's just like, guys, if you just say, okay, yeah, that's nice, thanks for letting us know, yeah, we've got the okay to use those characters, but can we
put that on the shelf and use it later?
Right, put it on the back burner, or just like, okay, great, maybe we'll make one or two little mini references here, and then if the storyline is right with what we're planning, then we can bring them in full time. I don't know if that's some of the problem, or
I'm just, it kind of worries me, because I'm like, okay, Disney, you're doing all these live action movies, and that's great. Why do you have to come in and yeah, but I'm like, why are you coming in and meddling with Once Upon a Time, if that is indeed what's happening? I don't know for sure, and I don't want to start rumors or anything, but it just kind of feels like that's what's happening. Like the executives say, oh gosh, we've got to cash in on this and do it really quick, and because the Dark Swan part with Camelot and everything, that was working really well. With Emma and her whole story arc and things going there, and then it was just all of a sudden not there anymore. I don't know.
We don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and it's
we don't, and we're
frustrated.
Speculating.
Yeah.
Well, then we have the whole thing with Henry wanting to destroy magic. Yet
that came out of nowhere.
It's like, kid, don't you remember what happened in the tail end of season 3 with the wanting to destroy magic in Bullying at Storybrooke, and her mom, both moms trying to go down to destroy that crystal?
He's a teenager. He's got short-term memory issues.
And I really hate to bag on the actors here, because I feel like that's what I'm doing, but going, with that finale, because Henry and Violet, they had to carry a lot of the story, and it was painful for me to watch. It just, their acting was so stilted and so stiff. Maybe not stilted, stiff is the word I was looking for. And it was like, I've never noticed that you're really not that great of an actor. And I don't know if it's just because like the older adult actors can kind of can pick up the slack where they need to, and now being asked to.
The chemistry between him and the girl wasn't that. We're seeing that.
That could be it too. I mean.
Well, but then when like in the finale, you've got Henry and his girlfriend, I guess. If they're locking lips now, I guess they can say their boyfriend and girlfriend. with Emma, Regina, and Rumpel, and Emma's, she does her, for the most part, just her Emma thing, like, I just want to keep my family, I want to keep my family safe, and I'm the savior, so the burden's on me, blah, 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 blah. Emma really needs therapy in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Her and Daisy on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would get along famously. We'll get to that next week.
Very, very,
yeah.
very narrow-minded.
Yeah.
So single-minded.
Yeah. So, Emma's not quite gotten there with the character development yet, so it's kind of, stalled there. And then you've got Rumpel, who, we all just want to beat up, but Robert is a fantastic actor with what he's been given. And then you've got Lana, who is on her own just plane above everyone else as Regina. So anyone having to carry a scene with Lana, I think, is going to look stilted for the most part.
But she does it in a way that still makes the whole thing look good.
Oh yeah, she's effortless about it, which is great. She doesn't have to force it. I mean, she is Regina, and it's fabulous, and she's had this great character development, and she's able to portray that, and it's give that woman an Emmy or something.
Seriously, she is great. I mean, I will never say anything otherwise.
Yeah.
That and. Yeah.
And some of it may just, it may be an age thing too, that, the younger folk, they are younger. I mean, they're, I don't know how old they actually are in real life, but
well, I mean,
everyone else has got at least a decade or two on them, so.
Yeah. It felt like watching a middle school play.
Yeah.
I've memorized my lines. Hear me recite them, and I'm like, oh gosh. And that whole scene at the fountain where Henry's like, my family needs your wishes, and people are like, sure, I'll toss a penny in this fountain. There's magic. What? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, people in New York. I need to get to my next thing, and I was just like. What was that? It was
Henry's attempt to, King Aragorn at the gates of Mordor.
Yeah.
His Braveheart moment, like trying to rally the troops, but it's New York, that's a bunch of jaded New Yorkers, and they're like, yeah, whatever. A lot of those New Yorkers are probably wishing that they'll be able to catch a cab when they go out to the street. So,
and okay, so they make the wish, and they get Snow and Charming and Zelina and Hook back, and I was like, because I for sure thought this finale was okay. They're going to be trapped over in that other realm, so next season is going to be all about getting them back. And so, but now it's like this finale, it like didn't really do anything, because even the people in New York, they really didn't care in the end, because at the end, and I don't know how Henry knew this, but he was all like, oh, they just thought it was a cool magic trick. They didn't think it was really anything special or whatever. And I was like, how do you know that?
Right.
Because they all walked away.
That they think it's a cool magic trick, considering. The thing with cool monsters, which is no longer anymore, but I don't think you want a lot of people pounding down on the door of Storybrooke.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing about Storybrooke. It's where all the fairy tale characters live in our world, and it's a place where magic exists in that little bubble.
And it's quite relatively safe in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Well, safe from the from the outside world.
But apparently, if you're evil, Storybrooke is the place to go. Apparently.
Apparently, yes. If you can find it. I mean, I kind of feel like I feel like they've kind of forgotten that little tidbit of Storybrooke is supposed to be hidden. Like, you aren't supposed to be able to find it.
Yeah.
But people keep finding it for some reason.
How many boundary curses have we put on Storybrooke?
Apparently not enough.
Yeah.
And you had the ice wall, and you had...
There didn't be a boundary curse in the finale, like, of any kind, because they just left Boston, New York, whatever, just go. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's like, hey, go on, like spring break in Miami, guys. We're going on vacation. I'm like, I don't know. Like, what else? What else do we say about this? There's a lot that they're doing. There's a lot that they've forgotten, and it's just, it feels like it feels like the network's just like, oh, we need another season from you, and they're starting to really run out of ideas. And it's not because they're out of ideas, it's because they've thrown all their ideas into the pot all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, and they just rush through it.
Well, and then I was kind of cheering when Rumple lost Belle. I mean, it kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Like, here you're trying to do all this stuff to protect her, but have you learned your lesson? No. And, okay, character development, Rumple, yeah, he needs some. Instead of doing this almost every year, these...
Oh. Did we lose Holly?
Holly?
I don't know.
She was the one that came prepared. She came with notes.
She did.
She did. She did her homework this week. So, yeah, she will. So.
We lost her.
Oh no! Come back.
Well, I totally agree with. And again, I sound like a broken record, but Rumple. Oh, so I will have to say, they did at least, they've gotten Rumple to the point where he's not like playing, like pretending to be good when he's not. Like he's fully embraced. Like Rumple has fully embraced the fact that he's the dark one. He loves the dark magic, and that's who he is. And if you don't like it, go sit on it. So at least we've gotten that from Rumple.
And he's being completely honest about it. So I'm like, okay,
so
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Why does Belle have to stick around and deal with this?
Okay. Yeah.
Go for it.
My what if before the call dropped me is, instead of Regina getting split up, what if it would have been Rumple that would have gotten split into two?
Now, see, that would have been interesting.
We could have had Rumple, the one that Belle kind of fell in love with, and then Evil Dark One. That would have been something to see. Give a little more screen time for Bobby Carlyle, and have him, deal with some of this. But then I don't know, maybe that was a thought of, but then I know that they are starting to film Train Spotting too, so maybe they decided to put that on the back burner and went with Regina. I don't know, but I would have loved to have seen that.
What bothers me about that, though, of splitting Regina into Regina and the Evil Queen, is like Regina has been redeemed. Like, she has put the Evil Queen behind her. When she started talking about, the Evil Queen is still inside me, I'm like, well, yeah, but you're not giving in to her. I mean, everybody has a light side and a dark side and blah, 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 blah. Everybody has darkness and light in their heart. It's, it all makes you who you are, and part of you, this is the lesson I wish they would have done instead, is like, don't, try to excise the evil out of you, like, with magic. It's, you live with the choices you've made, you try to make them right, I thought, like, with Robin Hood, and she was getting a second chance, I'm like, why does she need to bring up the Evil Queen again? This is like, she's paid for her crimes, as far as I can tell. She's made it better. She's been a better person. She's trying to get on with her life, and they just won't let her. And I am and beyond that, I'm sick of the Evil Queen. I'm sorry, I know people love it, and she's like fabulously evil and covered in black and sequins and cackles, and you feel like she's gonna kill you. And I'm like, that's not who she is anymore. Even when they have the flashback, the Regina Evil Queen flashbacks, I just want to slap her. I'm like, I'm done with you. Your story is over. Let's move on. And I just, with the death of Robin Hood, it's like there was no purpose in killing him off other than to resurrect the Evil Queen, which Regina has worked so hard to put behind her. You've basically just thrown every bit of character development of hers out the window, and it just cheeses me off to no freaking end. I'm like, I like her as the good Regina, but she's still snarky and kind of has a little bit of an edge to her. I like that, but and I like that she's accepted who she is and what she's not proud of what she's done, but she's tried to be better, and now you're just dragging her through it all over again, and I just want to punch you in the nose. Yes, I'm threatening violence. What are you gonna do?
I told you, folks. Soapbox. So. Hey, Mitch, I think you were trying to say something. Maybe.
I don't remember.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Her train got derailed too.
We've got a lot of trains going on here. Yeah, go ahead.
This station's really busy right now.
Did you want me to run through the list of predictions that I found based off of interviews with Adam and Eddie?
Well, yeah, we were saying when you got dropped, it said Holly did her homework. She brought notes.
Yeah.
Please share with the class.
Yep, Latin Times reports claim of a wedding of Hook and Emma. So
I'd be okay with this.
Which some of us claimed a little foreshadowing in the finale when they were smooching on the street and there's a wedding dress in the window across the street.
I even have their wedding all mapped out in my head. And now they've got the Jolly Roger.
That's not surprising. Like that on the show, right? Whatever you've got in head.
I know, but the Jolly Roger has to be involved somehow. It just has to. That's all I want.
That's their honeymoon vehicle.
Well, yes, you can have the party on the ship, and then when it's over, they go off on their honeymoon, and nobody has to clean up afterwards.
Hollywood Reporter is reporting of possible use of Don Quixote, bringing in from the...
Because, Disney's already shoehorned in enough of their works, they got to start doing other people's.
From the Land of Untold Stories, from popshow.com, supposedly next season is supposed to be set in Storybrooke. Will focus on main characters and flashing back to other realms. Yeah, and then we're bringing in characters from Untold Stories that we're seeing going to be focusing on main characters. A little contradictory there. Yeah, that's what I was... Yeah. And then we might meet Rumpel's mom. This has been going about for the past few seasons. It would be nice to find out who Mom is.
True. We just got rid of Pan, though. Do we really need to bring in...
Well, Mom could have been actually nice, and maybe Pan decided to give her the boot. Who knows?
That's true.
One could hope. Charmings are going to become leaders again. Belle's baby.
Chrissy's favorite, Princess... What is it? Princess
Rainbow Sparkle Poo.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, okay. I gotta clarify. I don't have a problem with Snow White, really. Just lately, she hasn't had a lot to do, so
she's been pregnant.
She's been the human hope dispenser. She's just kind of you need a hopey, a fluffy hopey pep talk. You go up to her, put a quarter in her, and she says, "Just hold on to hope. Everything will be okay."
Well,
she was Emma's rock through the whole Hook dying thing.
Well,
that's about all she.
That's about all she could do, considering this is the second season that Ginny's been pregnant during most of the storyline. So there's not much they can do with Ginny when she's the size of a house.
that's fine. I'm like, but can you give her something else to say other than being the? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can she make a funny comment or something?
Well, you know, you got to do something. I mean, with the meal, they just put her in a sleeping curse. You know, it's like, oh, you're pregnant, well, we can't stuff, so we're gonna put you in a sleeping curse.
Well, it's not like they were doing much with her anyway.
Well, that's true.
No.
And then the last one, Evil Queen Revenge on Non-Evil Regina. Okay. Yeah.
Like you said, the Rumple, the splitting Rumple's personality would have been more interesting.
Yeah. Now, I'll toss these out and then we can talk about them. Lost Threads, the black and white world, for Dr. Whale.
Oh,
that got dropped in a hurry. Chernobog, is he done?
Good question.
They just haven't shoved him in a portal yet, probably.
Right.
Because everything has to go through a portal.
Right. Remember Regina's race mark that Rumple gave her. Where's that been all this time? She got marked, and then no.
It just conveniently disappeared.
Repercussions.
Yeah.
You're right. And Blue and remember how nervous Blue was when the author got released out of the hat? What's the deal with that, and then how is that going to affect with Henry? What does she know that? So those are my kind of missing threads that I kind of picked up on and had questions on. Like I said, I mean, some of them might just be they've all been retconned away, or
they just forgot about them.
Right, if they forgot about him, or if that race mark is going to come back into play with Evil Queen Regina and non-evil Regina, I don't know.
Sometimes I wonder. I know that this is a Disney property, but I wonder sometimes if they think that they can treat Once Upon a Time like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and play like the super long game. Like, you can't guarantee it's going to stay on the air long enough.
That is true.
Which makes me wonder why the second halves of these seasons are just like where they try to just cram as much stuff in. Like, we might get canceled, so it's like, if you did it right, you wouldn't worry about getting canceled.
Right.
And you wouldn't get to the point where, like, us, as much as we love it, we're all kind of like, yeah, you know what? If you got canceled, we wouldn't cry that much. It's kind of like Castle, where the fans were all like, just cancel it already. We're done.
But the time.
Well, and this two-part finale is a perfect example of that. Like they do try to cram so much in there, because in this you had Henry trying to, quote, destroy magic. You had Rumple trying to run off with it. You had Emma and Regina's, wild adventure. And then you introduce a whole new realm with all, like, every untold, quote again, story that's ever been written. So, like, every work of literature, which, okay, I'm interested in this, but the setup was just so rushed and not given enough time to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about this in my review on my blog about how this finale is like, okay, there's so much fallout from the story arc that just ended. Hades is dead, Robin Hood's dead, Hook is back. I mean, they glossed over the fact that he's back, and it's just like like David gives him a hug in the background, and that's it. It's like, okay, so the whole going to the Underworld to save Hook, that was the whole story arc, and when he's finally back and alive, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, that happened, next thing. It's like they don't give the characters a chance to react to these things, so we're starting to kind of lose interest and not care about what happens to these characters, because it doesn't feel like they care, and I'm like, well, if they don't care, why should I care? And I want to care. I wanted there to be this big emotional payoff for Hook being reunited with Emma, and then Regina I thought she was gonna freak out, and that's how she was gonna go all evil queen, because it's like Emma gets everything and I get nothing, and she was gonna, it was gonna be Dark Curse Part 2, I guess, or Part 3, whatever we're up to by now. And it didn't happen. And Regina was just like, "Oh, I'll talk about it to you later." And
they did.
They did, but it was still sort of swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Well, and then how Jekyll Hyde knows about Rumple and what kind of dealings did they have? It's just like, okay.
See, that should have been.
Kind of the
they
way
should have
it
saved
sounded
that.
like for Snow, it almost sounded like they really didn't know about this lost stories realm. That it might have just been like a rumor. So it's just like, okay.
They should have saved that for the beginning of next season, honestly, because that's what it feels like. It was part of season 6, and have done something else to kind of clear up more, or give an extra episode in the Underworld to really, I don't know, do something. I don't know. I don't know. That's the theme of this episode. It's just so rushed, and it needed more time to work through things, or maybe just Henry running off trying to destroy magic. That was your story. I mean, you could have had Emma and Regina and Rumple running after him there, and you didn't need to have the rest of everybody else trying to fix that. We didn't need to do the untold stories until the beginning of next season. It just feels like it's chess storytelling. I've heard it called this before. It's like it's just methodical, and it's like, okay, it's mechanical. That's what it is. And it doesn't feel like there's any.
Say methodical is not necessarily a bad thing. Mechanical is a bad thing.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, so this has to happen, and so this can happen, so this can happen, so this can happen, so this can happen, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense to those characters. It just has to happen that way because somebody said so.
Right.
And you just sort of going like, why? Like that scene where the Rumple orders room service, and there's the silver plate, and he gets set, and you're like, why did you have to do that? Were you just filling time?
Probably.
And if so, you're the all-powerful Dark One. Can't you just magic room service? Please?
Why was that so spooky? And it really wasn't.
I think we were supposed to be afraid for the guy delivering it.
Yeah, but then he was
Rumple
fine.
do something to him.
Yeah, I know. But then he didn't.
Yeah.
What is going on?
They created the tension for no reason.
Yes, that's why I'm frustrated.
I feel like Ricky Ricardo, you got some splaining to do.
And I still really love this show. I know I'm giving it a hard time, but that's because I love it, and I know it can be better.
We're like a parent that way. Like, we love you, but we're very disappointed in the choices you've been making recently.
And we're concerned about what you're doing
with your life.
Yeah, concerned about what you're doing with your life. So, yes, exactly. Which Belle desperately needs, by the way.
Yeah.
Like when I know this is kind of retreading old ground, but I got to talk about this because the episode with Gaston, I seriously wanted him to be a good guy because that would give Belle a choice, a viable good choice of, here, you can go with Rumple, or look at this guy, Gaston. He was, maybe he wasn't such a bad guy back in the day. He was okay.
But then when you find out, it's like, she
has no good choices. I mean, I guess her good choice would be just to leave them both and say, I'm going to stay single forever. Sister's doing it for herself.
Yeah.
That's an option.
Yeah. Hook, do you happen to have another brother besides Liam?
Yeah, I mean, they could, or whatever. I don't know. I just kind of got the feeling from that episode. I mean, for a show that's about hope and happy endings, Belle doesn't have a lot of hope or chance for a happy ending, it doesn't feel like. And it's just like
I'm going with Grumpy.
Yeah.
Grumpy would be an option at this point. And like,
hey, but we've seen Grumpy is capable of loving, so.
This is true. This is true. So that's what I say. So I'm like, okay, so is she supposed to be the realistic cautionary tale? Because, you know, people criticize the whole Disney princess thing about saying, oh, you know, you need a man, you need Prince Charming to come and rescue you. So is this like part of that moral of the story of don't depend on a man because they could be all scumbags? And you just have to get out of that situation? I mean, it's kind of a depressing thought, but with this, you know, modern fairy tales trying to be more realistic, that's quite possible what they're going for with this. And it's kind of it's not a very good trend or storytelling choice.
It's such a shame because Emily's such a good actress.
Oh, yeah.
Give her more to do.
and the whole premise of the Beauty and the Beast story, you know, fairy tale, or you know, the story is, you know, seeing the beauty and the goodness in someone who doesn't look very nice or doesn't act very nice. Rumple has just quit acting nice at all. Like, there is no goodness in him. He is determined to prove that. And so, like, we're not seeing, like you were saying earlier, Holly, that we're not seeing the goodness in Rumple ever. Like, there's no beauty behind the Beast.
You get slight glimmers, but then it turns out it's just smoke and mirrors. I mean,
it's just a trick.
The promise that he made to Neil at Neil's grave. I'm going to be a better man.
Oh, that was a lie.
It's like, I mean, that's why I wish they could have had another scene with Mike Raymond James, with him, you know, sure he wanted to talk to Emma, but it would have been nice to have seen, like I said before, a face-off between Neil and Rumple. It's like, hey, I will prefer what you straighten up, you know, Ghost of Christmas past.
Yeah.
You know,
I know that's the thing. I mean, I could take, you know, trickster, sneaky Rumple just fine. I mean, he was on his road to redemption at the end of season 3, and they just said, nope, not doing it. And I don't know. I feel bad for Belle. That's all. And you know, she's such a good person, and she sees goodness in everybody, and it's more often than not to her detriment. And I just, you know, for all the quote unquote problematic morals in fairy tales, this new one that they're creating, you know, to see the good in everybody, even when they're just totally not a very good one.
Yeah. No, unless there's still some fallout with the way Rumple was acting as when Selena had control of him, and we just haven't heard that backstory or seen that backstory yet, that something might have, or when he and Neil were both combined, if something went wrong, who knows? So that's why Rumple is acting the way he is, but then, again, hard to say. It could just be Rumple was Rumple.
At this point, I think it's Rumple is Rumple.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Which again, you know, I love Rumple to a point. At least I did. I was loving Rumple up to a point, and now I'm just frustrated. Which again, I love Robert, and Robert is fantastic as Rumple, but it's just to get your head out of your butt.
Or he just likes the view from there.
Apparently. Ugh.
Charming and Hook need to just take them for a gentlemanly conversation. If that means they have to use the Dark One sword and whack Hook upside the head a few times, a la Gibbs, go for it.
Yeah. If only it was that easy.
You remember that scene? I think it was in season 2, and it was the episode "The Crocodile" when Rumple goes to David and asks, you know, he's asking his advice about romance, and David's like, "Are you asking me how to, you know, about advice about women?" Huh? Yeah, and he's trying. Rumple's trying to be impress Belle and be romantic, and that's like, oh, that is so sweet. Yeah, that Rumple is just long gone. Yeah.
Oh.
I feel
my head. This makes my head
so
hurt.
exhausted.
And yeah.
Let's see. I want to look through. I'm just looking through my blog and my reviews and see the things.
I mean,
there was,
again,
like there was stuff I didn't like.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
it was partially a joke, but in a way, I do kind of feel like a parent where I'm just all like, I'm very disappointed in you right now, my child. I thought I raised you better than this.
I mean, okay, so like the episode with Mila, where they have to explain, like Emma has to explain, well, I dated your son, and now I'm dating your ex-boyfriend too. And Mila's response to that, like it really, like I loved Mila, and she's like I thought that they were going to go the stereotypical, the ex, the missus and the ex sniping at each other, but Mila and Emma were like actually kind of friends, and I loved that.
Mm.
And she wanted to help and help save Hook and do everything she could, and that was a nice episode. That was a good one. And then Rumple had to go and ruin it by chucking her into the River of Lost Souls. Because Rumple.
Yeah. I will have to say, the nice thing about the Underworld storyline is we did tie off a lot of characters that hopefully now we don't have to see ever again, like Cora, like Pan, like Regina's father. It's like all those characters are dead. So we shouldn't see them anymore.
Yes. Although, and like we said before, when we talked about the premiere episode, it was nice to have Regina's dad get his storyline all wrapped up, and like that he was an actual character and not just this poor little pawn caught between these two queens who are always trying to magic each other to death, and he just is sitting there like, Regina, Cora, can't you all be nice? And then he actually gets to do something. I'm like, that was sweet. I liked that. So like you said, there was good parts about this. It just ended poorly.
Come on, ABC. Pick it up. You don't have to put all the money into your Thursday night lineup. I know everyone loves all the Shonda Rhimes and Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder and Grey's Anatomy, but you have people who are not into those types of programming. They want to watch this stuff. Don't let it become the redheaded stepchild.
Yes. Although, we are coming up to season 6, and sometimes this is about when long-running shows start to kind of lose steam, so I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
That's the other worry I have. But
yeah, it's like I'd hate to see it go, but at the same time, it's like
if it must go, I want it to go. This is what I wish shows would do, just kind of in general. This is not unique to Once Upon a Time. I wish that they would say, okay, some shows would say, okay, we're going to do 5 seasons and that's it. And when we're done telling story, and don't try to milk us anymore, because when you get the network starting to milk it for all it's worth, and we saw this with Castle, is like people are glad to see it go.
Mm-hmm.
This is something they used to love and watch faithfully, but then it just got bad. It just got terrible at the end, and they just say, okay, we're done, and finally just put us out of our misery. I'm like, I don't want this to happen to Once Upon a Time, which is probably going to happen anyway. I want it to be all like, okay, we've wrapped up our story, and they live happily ever after, and you kind of feel like, okay, I wish they would do a little more, but I understand that they've told their story, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
kind of wish shows would do that more often. Like the one I think about, and I always point to this example, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Before they even started the first episode, they said, okay, this is the story we're telling us. We're going to tell. It takes 3 seasons, and then we're done. That's it. And then obviously they did a bit of a sequel series, Legend of Korra, but that was with totally different characters, and it was several years in the future. Yeah, they're a completely different story, and they said there too, it's like, okay, yeah, 4 seasons, we're done, and that was it. And the network didn't try to say, okay, you need to give us another season. They just said, nope, we're done. That's all we had to tell, and it works so well because by the end you're like, yes, you're sad it's over, but you got all the closure and all the story that you wanted to hear anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of look at it with fondness, and it's not just a shameless cash grab.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as I love Disney, I am not one to turn a blind eye when they go for the shameless cash grabs.
Yeah. And if they're worried about us not having more to watch, I'm like, I've got all the DVDs. It's on Netflix. I can go back and watch whatever episode I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, I don't need new stuff all the time. I want to remember the stuff I liked from, when it was really, really good. I'm not saying it can't be good again. I'm just saying, like you said, Rachel, it's an intervention.
Yes.
You're concerned about the choices you're making,
Yes.
and I want to discuss this with you.
We need to have a talk before you go down this road any further.
Yes. I mean, and at the end is when Hook and Emma finally get their big I love you scene, because this whole season has been about Emma's troubles and Hook's troubles, and I've liked that, but it's like, again, they didn't get the payoff until like 30 seconds at the very end, and that's all we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, I didn't need it to be the whole episode, I just would have liked a little more.
Before the next trouble starts strolling up the street.
Yeah,
I mean, literally
give him a chance to have a normal life for a little while, and you look at the time, and you look at the timeline. Like most of these stories that happen one right after another. Effectively, if you look at the time frame, it's only been 2 years since Tiny Henry came up and said, "Hi, I'm your son."
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's like bing, 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 boom. It's just like, okay, everybody needs to take a step back and breathe. Like you guys are saying. Yeah.
So,
but where would the fun in that be?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, you notice that they quit saying, when they flash back and they would say, in Camelot, it would just say many years ago. They quit putting a specific number on it, because people started doing the math and like, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, especially considering Henry looks like, he should really be old enough to go get a job, and baby Charming is still in diapers. So.
Yeah. I mean, we could chalk it up to magic, but it's like, but in season 1, you broke the curse and time is moving, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Right. Unless somehow time got frozen and we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? There could be another curse somewhere we haven't heard about, and they might just pull it out of their butt next season and say, oh, by the way, time has stopped. Just Henry keeps getting, growing a foot every day.
Henry's immune because he's the author.
We did a dark curse.
Yeah. Henry
What were you saying, Mitch?
Yeah.
Henry's immune. There's another curse stopping time, but Henry's immune because he's the author.
Okay, I would probably take that.
Yeah.
No,
either that or Henry ages faster because he's the author.
There you go. Or,
he's got to grow the beard like the old author, the Sorcerer's Apprentice had, because once you get into that field, you gotta grow the beard.
Or I got something.
Well, I mean, Disney was 30 for like what, 20 years?
Say what?
Oh, I say, like, Walt Disney was 30 for, what, 20 years?
Exactly. So, but no, Holly, what was your theory?
Well, I was saying one of my theories is maybe we find out that Belle cast the curse without even knowing because she was in the library and decided to read a book of Latin out loud. Flashback.
That could work.
Don't read Latin books aloud. You might set one afire. Or, hey, instant curse without even knowing.
That could happen. That could very well happen.
This is Storybrooke.
Stranger things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we want them to or not.
Without warning, even. I don't know. I still need to show Jared the Frozen arc. He still wants to watch it. Maybe we'll do that tonight. Or get it started.
Oh, there you go.
I love the Frozen arc.
Me too.
It was such a good one.
It's everything after that.
Everything I ever wanted. Now, where would we rank this arc that we had? Would we rank it above the Neverland or below the Neverland?
It's still above Neverland because just the Underworld arc. I'm taking the finale off and I'm putting it on season 6 because it's not part of this at all.
I have to agree with you there. Yeah.
I would put it above Neverland. Maybe even with Queens of Darkness, maybe a little bit above. Because I put Frozen and Oz pretty much on the same level. I love the Oz storyline. It's so cool. Was that a sound of disgust, Rachel, or are you just moving?
Both. Well, you got to remember, I haven't actually finished watching everything that I hadn't watched before, so I haven't seen the Pan or the Oz storyline yet.
Oh,
so
Oz is better.
But I imagine Oz would be pretty good because I'm assuming since it's Oz, it includes Zelina, and anything that includes Zelina is going to be good. So,
and she is like full on. She's full on Wicked Witch. It's glorious.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of build up of Emma and Hook, which is I love that. And it ends with their big time travel adventure, which. That one's still the best finale that they've ever done.
With the Back to the Future references.
Back to the Future, yeah. That one's just, it's so good. And I'm like, guys, don't, stop trying to outdo that one. You never will. You never will outdo that. And I'm not saying this because it was the Captain Swan movie. Just saying that objectively being well done. It was just such a good story. And it proved that, yes, they can do two-parters. Just not this year.
Or last year.
Well, even Operation Mongoose, it was not that great, but it's not as bad as what we got this year.
Yeah.
So, anyway. And Rachel, you bringing up the Shondaland stuff, I do want to put, I know it's like total tangent, whatever, but I do want to mention that I saw there was a trailer out for a new show, and it's Shonda Rhimes is producing it, and it's called Still Star-Crossed. And I've never watched anything, the Shonda Rhimes stuff. I've never watched any of it just because it's not something I'm interested in. But this one, it's based on a book. It's supposed to be a sequel to Romeo and Juliet. And it's what happens to the Montagues and Capulets after Romeo and Juliet die. And so that's what this show is about. And I'm watching the trailer, and I'm like, that actually looks really good. And I read the book, and it was one of those that I saw the cover and was all, this could be either really, really good or really, really stupid. So I checked it out, and I read it, and I'm like, this is really, really good. I love this. And it's Rosaline and the Benvolio, they get matched up by the Dukes in an attempt to keep the peace in Verona between the two houses, and drama ensues, basically. But anyway, so, I don't know, just you mentioned that, and I was like, oh, I want to talk about this show a little bit. I saw the trailer. I have no idea if it's any good or not, or if I'm going to like it, but I'm going to try it. But anyway,
yeah.
The Once Upon a Time Facebook page was advertising it, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I know that was way out of left field.
Yeah. So,
And
Anything else?
I don't know.
Our soapbox is worn out.
And my list is exhausted. So.
Has Holly gone through all of her notes?
Yes, I have.
And you had some really good theories. I just have no answers for them.
I know. It's just, I mean, some of the stuff, just kind of came to me and said, it might be off the wall, but then again...
Like I said, with this show, you could be completely off the wall, and you might be right, actually.
Exactly, yeah.
It's true.
The crazy theory might not be so crazy after all.
Nope.
We've heard crazier.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Pan was Rumpelstiltskin's father. Anything is possible.
True. Which makes me really wonder if and when we meet Rumpel's mother, oh boy.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I don't even want to begin to guess who mother could be.
As long as it's not
lying around that it's blue.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Very. Yeah.
No.
That I really don't know about. That one I just like to do. I hope so.
I don't even know.
Big old
Fandom and their theory.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Just watch me superimpose the gif of Baird after the alternate version.
Oh, yeah.
of Jake.
So,
Yeah.
Kisses her. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Do not watch. Oh. Well, dear listener, if you have anything you want to add to this enlightening conversation, or if you want to get on your soapbox too, we'll let you do that. We'll give you some time. If you send in feedback to us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com, that's our email address. You can also find our contact information at our website, the 5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube and iTunes. So those are all great places to get in contact with us. And like I said, that's all on the website. And if you would also be so kind as to donate to our Patreon, that is on our website as well. And we appreciate all our supporters there who have generously gifted us of donations. And all that money goes straight back into the podcast and lets us continue to do this and get up on our soapboxes and rant and rave when our favorite shows are disappointing us. So we thank you for doing this, and also for everyone who downloads and listens. We're so glad that you do, and glad that you find some entertainment and edification out of our fangirling, because that's what we're here for.
We try.
We try. Sometimes we even succeed.
Yeah. Yes, so next week we'll be talking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So there'll be a little bit of ranting, but not so much. There'll be way more squeeing. Good old shit Fitzsimmons.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah. Aye, Captain.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of, but it's not going to be in the same. Yeah, it's not going to be like, it's not like I'm disappointed in your choices. It's more like you're breaking my heart type choices.
I actually cried.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because if I was just in an emotional mood that day, or if it was genuinely, but yes, I cried.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Joe. But I will say no more here.
Yeah. So that's what's on the docket for next week, and beyond that, we don't know, because we'll figure that out after we finish recording. So we have a birthday coming up, and I have no idea what we're doing for it.
You had a birthday, shout hooray!
Yeah. We have had a couple of birthdays in the last year. Chrissy just had a birthday, and Mitch had a birthday in the last few weeks. So
Brittany's birthday's coming up.
Brittany's birthday is coming up, and my birthday was months ago, so whatever. But the show has a birthday coming up, so we gotta. Dear listeners, if you have any suggestions on what we should do for our second birthday, please email us. Or comment on Facebook.
We're hoping we're going to avoid the terrible twos altogether.
Yeah.
And then we also have an anniversary coming up.
Yes. Yeah, we're
it's all going to coincide all together.
yeah. So we need suggestions. Second birthday, 100th episode. We need help. And if you give a really good suggestion, maybe you'll get something in return. More than warm fuzzies, maybe. We'll see. Anyway.
We do goodies from time to time.
Occasionally. But we'll discuss that once we're off the air.
Yep. Okay, well, thanks for listening, people. You're all awesome, and we love you.
Yep.
Big internet hugs or high fives, whatever it is you like to do.
Or fist bumps.
Fist bumps.
Respectful nod. If you don't like to be touched.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That too. And yeah. The annoying.
Yeah. High five emoji. No physical hands have to touch. Just emoji hand.
Through the internet.
Yes.
We send you our love.
Yep.
That's all.
All right. Okay. Well, with that, let's sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and David saying goodnight.
It's Chrissy in Salt Lake City saying goodnight.
Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
Yeah, and this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I really hope that if and when Captain Swan tie the knot, that it's just a glorious, glorious fairy tale worthy wedding.
Rainbows.
Yeah, rainbows and unicorns and just
the wedding.
wedding of the century.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.